second panel that brings us to Bilbao, hand in hand with Javier GARCIMUñO, who is the General Director of the development area of the Bilbao municipality. He has a remarkable career with more than 20 years leading the transformation of several companies. So I think that without further ado, we're just willing to listen to him and remove the headset, because now we're going to listen it live in Spanish. So, Javier, the floor is yours. Please, a round of applause for him. Okay, do you want me to do it in Euskera, which is my mother tongue? Okay. Okay, I'm very thankful to all of you. Thank you, Diego, and the whole team for inviting me. Of course, the Town Hall of Santa Cruz, the regional government, the Island Council, and the Mueve Foundation for offering me the possibility of being here today with you. I was participating in an interview with the radio broadcaster Cadena Ser. Just take a look at the auditorium, the bay, and the mountains, and the person that interviewed me, Pablo, told me, I'm just checking a picture. I mean, I need to take a picture. This is amazing, you know, what I'm saying. So I think that he took for granted that beautiful surrounding nature that we have here on the island. He considered that it was, you know, something that was you can take for granted. So please allow me to give you an advice. Please keep on admiring your surrounding, because it's not that evident, you know, it's something that is absolutely extraordinary. Please try to enjoy it on a daily basis. And my family and myself, I mean, we come here to the island almost every year. We come, you know, and I loved it when I just cycled through a natural park and Masca mountain range. I just, you know, drove up to the national park. So sometimes the most beautiful thing is not the most evident thing, and what we normally sometimes we think is the way to enjoy an island is a certain way, but there might be other ways to enjoy, like nature tourism or having experiences. So having shared my thoughts with you, let me try to explain which was the change that Bilbao went through linked to urban development, which were the challenges and that we had to overcome, and the upcoming challenges. So in order to understand this, I will have to go backwards and talk about which are the transformational processes since the end of the 19th century to the present time. Obviously, the industrialization that we went through affected Vizcaya through the minery and all what happened nearby that process. You know, it just was kind of the branding of Bilbao. But then we went through the economic crisis, but the ones that were positioned in industrial fabric suffered much more. And the urban transformation we've gone through that makes now Bilbao to be a tourism city. I'm 56 years old. I would have never ever thought that, you know, seeing a person with another skin color would just caught your attention, because it was something weird. But now is the way around, the other way around. Now, you know, what is weird is to see people born in Bilbao, but all the people, all the visitors are more than welcome. So all those transformations help us to make some analysis, to make that transformation. And what we want to do is what I want to explain you on how the urban planning might condition a city, and shall we face that process, each one of us, from our positions. As was explaining before, I mean, all the Vizcaya province is influenced by the fact that we had minery, those mines that were linked through the port directly with England. We had heavy industry that was on top of the river. It was an industrial wasteland, you know, people threw things away. It was, you know, the water was stinky, and, you know, and you could not construct the houses looking to the river. So, you know, we had not only that heavy industry, but also auxiliary industry, and then it gave rise to additional things, like then we had all the bank institutions. We had to create also other industries like energy, Iberdrola, and the capital investment to, we just make money, and the stock exchange that I didn't mention before. And all that gave rise to an incredible situation whereby we had a heavy migration. Many people came from other regions of Spain to the north of Spain. 50% of the steel in Spain during the 60s was produced in Vizcaya. The biggest industrial company was in Bilbao with 14,000 workers. Imagine, from the social perspective, business perspective, economic perspective, was massive, with a very heavy environmental degradation, because that was not the right criteria to implement and maintain along the time. So happening this in an urban context, I have the circumstance that I was born and live with my wife and with my children facing the the river. I didn't mention the ship makers, and you could see. I remember listening to that manufacturer, something that lived all my life, with that shipyard. So we faced the crisis where instead of having that shipyard, the ships were manufactured in Korea. They were more productive than us, maybe because they were cheaper. And in that time, the Spanish institutions, and after the democracy, the constitution, and the approval of the autonomic regimes, and the one from Basqueland was the first one approved in the year 1979, and it gave us certain conditions, new conditions that we had to take advantage of. But we were talking about a massive economical crisis with 30% unemployment, people living at the left side of the river, with massive unemployment, and in the case of the young people, 50% unemployment, with dramatic circumstances. Here you see on the bottom right corner, those are the floods in the year 1983 in August, when the tides, that we have that, we have oscillation, tides oscillation, and there was a summer storm. And, in the estuary where we are in Bilbao, the tide was massive, and we suffered that flood. And there was the context, crisis, depression, and people just questioning their lives, where some institutions were just created and had to manage that chaotic situation. And what we have here is that environmental and urban regeneration process, which has kind of showcased what has happened in Bilbao. And my friend Alfonso and my friend from Singapore also help us. We see in here the estuary. We see the old shipyards. Our house was here in that corner. Here we see the vessels that were being manufactured. If you take that reference of that shipyards, you will see the same picture from the other side. And here you can see that shipyard, and then a little bit far beyond, there were, some docks where you could just sail along that estuary up to the bridge. Here you see the University of Deusto, and the future Guggenheim Museum was erected here. And here we can see the Congress Center, the governmental headquarters, and here I try to explain how they modified the estuary with the new port, which is a source of income, as they are placing new manufacturing plants in order to host new manufacturing plants that are employing many, many people. Here we also have a wind that is also constructing pieces for the wind turbines. And we keep on living from that success. And that is something that happened about 25 years ago. And the picture that I'm going to show you is the other way around. If you pay attention, we see it from the south towards the north, and the sea is up there. And this is the other way around. Here you can see how the docks where, the piers where the Deuster Bridge could open, the vessels could pass by. And in that area is where we have now the Guggenheim Museum.
So that's the headquarters of Iberdrola, and this is the regeneration space in Bilbao. It's very beautiful, and I understand that when people visit, they are struck by the cleanliness on the streets and the flowers, etc. And this is what we've managed to achieve to date. This regeneration has meant that hundreds of decisions have been taken. This Iberdrola tower is full of workers now, not just from Iberdrola, but other suppliers. BBVA has outsourced all of its offices to Madrid now. So mostly in this area there are different suppliers. Zamudio is the valley that sits next to Bilbao. And this has been a place where lots of tech centers have set up business. There are 20 different businesses, over 250 hectares. So that's 12,000 jobs in the region now. 5 billion euros income, neuroscience, security, all different fields. So Bilbao has emptied itself of industry. We've turned the spaces into beautiful natural spaces, very pleasant to live. But now there aren't any offices in the center of the city. Jenny mentioned the Guggenheim earlier. This was built the project was begun in 1991. The agreement with the foundation was signed then, and it was finished in 1997. This, again, was a very chaotic moment. Yeah, we had the bridge was the site of regular demonstrations. At this time, though, social media didn't exist. So there wasn't the social pressure that we have today. The other day I was watching a talk by the mayor, and he said that every day the main newspapers ask the question, how is it possible to spend so much money on a museum which doesn't even have straight walls? The truth is that these big decisions should be taken by visionaries, right? This was a very uncertain time in Bilbao. No one was sure about whether or not this would work, but it was a total success. The same questions were asked about the metro system. People said, why do we need a metro? It's so expensive to dig these tunnels. We have buses. But those very complex decisions, once again, had to be taken by men and women who saw a long-term vision for the city. The Guggenheim Museum actually was considered in Venice. It might have been placed there. The authorities that visited New York, fought Bilbao's case, and it ended up being built here. The next picture is the Alhóndiga building, the grain store. This was later used as a wine storehouse, and it was put forward as a new space. Frank Gehry, of course, had a huge vision for this space that was, as I say, initially industrial. So, in Bilbao then, right now, we have a very high quality of life. We have high per capita income. very advanced public services. Our per capita income is high compared to Spain and Europe, actually. And there are lots of research and development institutes working. But in terms of population, we're the 11th biggest city in Spain. In the past, we were really the third. It was Madrid, Barcelona, and Bilbao. But nowadays, our population is not as it was. There has been actually immigration from Latin America and Africa that have kept our population going. We've decided to stop having babies for whatever reason, and so we have an aging population now. There are 370,000 inhabitants in Bilbao, and around 1 million if you include the whole river basin of the Nervion River. So, as I said, advanced public services, health services, security. We have a natural environment around us. We have beaches and mountains. This is our reality. But we have this aging population. We have more old people than young people. And there's a loss of business decision-making centers, as I said before. Before, Bilbao was an economic powerhouse that was noisy and dirty. It's not that anymore. It's a beautiful city, but those businesses have left. We also feel that there's been a bit of a loss of business dynamism. I am the Director General of the Agency for Economic Development, and I've seen this, decline in private sector dynamism. Where do we see then the future development of Bilbao? Well, it's an island. We can see it here, an island just like Tenerife. It's called Sorotzaure. Sorotza is the name of a neighborhood, and Aure, it means in front of. That's what the name means broken down. So it's around a 20-kilometer distance from the sea. You can see how big it is compared to the city of Bilbao, so quite big. And it's surrounded by water on all sides, literally. I'll tell you how this island came to be now. So in 1922, there was a project to build, you see how the river curves there. So the project was to build a canal in Deusto, yes, cutting across this curve. This came to being in 1968. This is very wet land, so it was very easy to dig. But it was totally finished in 2008. There was this 25-year pause. They built this kind of peninsula, and then the very last section of the canal was dug out in 2008. So this peninsula used to be full of industry, not heavy industry, but for instance, there's a factory for boat chains and auxiliary industry. There wasn't a big population. There was a little church, a small neighborhood, but lots of industry above all. So this island then was created. There is also an ideological debate about what to call this. Is it the island of Bilbao? Is it the island of Sorotzaure? Or is it the Deusto riverbank? Which is what we've gone for. So this island then took quite a long time to be created, and now it's being more urbanized. So the first communities settled in the north and the south, and now we're working on Unit 2. And the details are being finalized. The idea is to be able to go from north to south on a tram, to connect the whole island. towards another peninsula we can see, which I'll talk about in a moment. You can see some photos here about how it was dug out. The idea was to help the boats to leave the shipyards. This curve in the river was challenging for these boats, so this straight line leading to the sea would make it easier for these boats to leave the shipyards. By the year 2008, these shipyards had all closed, so the reason to finish this canal was as a flood prevention measure. Yeah. It's also more aesthetically pleasing, of course, to finish the canal off, to finally finish this project. In any case, the island was created. It measures 2.5 kilometers in length and between 270 and 190 meters in width. So it's very small and represents another opportunity to bring these business decision-making powers to the center of the city. When French people decide to shop in department stores, Carrefour, etc., we follow suit and do the same thing. Yeah, go to have a McDonald's and come back with our shopping done. However, in the past, people shopped more locally, right? Nowadays, young people don't want to go to these department stores anymore. They want to stay close to their homes and even work from home 2 or 3 days a week. And that's what we want to create here, an innovative urban district where this lifestyle is possible. So you can see here Zaha Hadid's image of this master plan. The idea would be to place the highest buildings on the right-hand side. There's a detailed urban plan to define the characteristics of these buildings, but maximum 25 stories. And then there is the main square with the church, and then carry on going north or to the left. So the idea is, as always, to have a mixed use site. Yep, so housing and office space. I am trying to make sure that we make the best use of this the resource. So there will be a proportion dedicated to private market housing and also social housing. There are around about 150,000 meters squared of open spaces. There will be businesses like aerospace engineering, tech centers are already showing interest in the site. The idea is to attract talent, so that our young people no longer have to leave. We're, trying to communicate to these companies that young people today don't want to leave, so they will have to come to them. The idea is to combine housing with tech centers that aren't necessarily universities, incubators for startups. Okay. All of these things are going to be our competitive advantage. As I said, we're looking for, areas of specialization like cybersecurity, AI. Okay, of course, everyone is working on this today. Quantum computing. The whole region is investing in this area. There are alliances with IBM in particular, trying to attract researchers to the area. So these are the main areas of work that we're focusing on. It's true that we also want to bring in sustainability, right? Other priorities that serve as, aspiration, yeah, reasons for people to want to come here and live here and work here, yeah, because they will find things that don't exist elsewhere. We want to make it cool, a cool place to be. So, physical spaces. The north section is all sold. Yeah, the land is all sold. So, tech centers, there are 3. Universities have 4 faculties there in the north section. In the south section, there is another university. In the center, BB Penn University will have presence there. They also have faculties in New York and Singapore. They work on video games. And Mondragon University in the Basque Country will have 4 faculties there. So 3 tech centers and a company, a German company, which is a leader in smart factories. So machine tools, smart machine tools. So now we are putting together the building plans and organizing, the whole project with the developers. But practically all of these 50,000 square meters are now already allocated. Here we can see the old canal. This bridge has been built, but the other one isn't. This last one that I just pointed to, it is built already. Here we can see the names of the companies that I've been talking about. IDOM is one of these engineering companies. They built the Samames Stadium, for example, but they're doing projects all over the world, Saudi Arabia, big public and private projects. We have aerospace, Mondragon, Ikerlan, Bicomtech. The Mondragon Corporation is offering resources for the 4 university faculties that will be there. RZ17 at the top is a building that Alfonso knows well. It's being built right now. So this is the north. The space over there at the end is the south, the southern tip. And we're working a lot with clusters. In the Basque Country, we followed the Michael Porter route to try and identify all the value chains for the main industries in our area. So aerospace, new tech, construction, environment, energy. These are all clustered. So with these industry clusters, we want to have a close relationship to be able to work with them. Area 16 has 20 stories, and the cybersecurity cluster is very invested there. We're working with them to try to help them in whatever way we can. The only private space, because all of the tertiary space belongs to the city council, but the only privately owned plot is RDH8, which belongs to Kutcher Bank. They will be building offices there. Maybe not for them, but for the market. And Kunstal at the bottom is a training company for design of textiles, industry, processes. And P6 is a theatre space. Ramon Barea is a very well-known actor. He's won theatre awards, and he's going to set up 2 theatre centres with just a few hundred seats, not thousands. Very experience-based and beautiful theatre space. Here you can see all of the entities that are involved in this process. This word trabajo duiz is the name that we've given to this district. It describes a space where people can live in a natural way and have their workplace close by, research centers, training centers, laboratories, etc., all there. These are, well, you can see the logos of the different universities, research institutes, applied mathematics, for example, is one of them. And, well, we all share resources as well. The idea is that whoever is going to, invest on this island, they will share their resources with everyone else in the area. I'm just have a couple of slides left. So, well, this is the other peninsula that we have. This is the northern tip, and it was bought from the port of Bilbao in spring 2019. We still have train tracks there, and there is a very important harbour with boats still docking there. It was a storage space, essentially. There were warehouses. The Civil Guard had a customs facility there. So the local government bought this land without having a clear idea of what they wanted to do with it yet. The focus now is going to be on audiovisual industry, so filmmaking. 3 years ago, there was a new local law. We have the right to charge our own taxes in the Basque Country, and we decided to offer tax breaks for filmmakers working in the Basque Country, and we've had a great response to these incentives. This island, then, this peninsula is going to, or the idea is that it becomes a filmmaking hub. Yep, the works, we have put out a call to tender, and we hope to begin in 2027. It's going to be a basic remodeling of the area, not a complete renovation. The buildings are around 14 meters high and offer huge possibilities for this audiovisual sector. Yeah. If you're making a film where you have to flood an entire warehouse, well, there are very few places where you can do this without getting into trouble, but you can do it here. So this is an emerging sector. Well, I've I mean, this is just a trial, okay? I know that Tenerife are doing quite similar things, but we believe that there is a great potential there to increase, GDP and employment opportunities in the area. Here are some governance tools that have been useful for us. Bilbao RIA 2000 is one of them. You can see the entities that have taken part. So these are all of the big projects that have taken place in Bilbao, right? The high-speed underground train lines. For example, Bilbao RIA 2000 is the entity that will have to execute that project. These big projects in the Basque Country are funded by the increase in the value of the land itself. The idea is that we don't necessarily have to have a shared ideology between these companies, but we do share resources. So when we speak to these companies that have been carrying out these big projects, they have reinvested their profits in many cases in surrounding areas. Yep. Success is shared, and success lies in people. People create alliances. Generous people are key. Yeah, these people that create projects for future generations to enjoy. I believe that people are key. This is another governance tool that we're developing. I talked to you about the network of technology parks before. We're also trying to give these parks the opportunity to use the tertiary land that belongs to the city of Bilbao. In this way, the Basque Country government and the municipal government will be able to participate, offering a more open and more agile form of governance. This is what we're working on. Well, that's everything from me. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.